Sal-Bass.
Live when the mic snap.
Justin.
In the cut, bring the fight back. Windy City talk, turn it down, that's that. Welcome to the show, it's Bulls on Tap. Bulls on Tap, pull it up, press play. Chi-Town talk, we can run it all day. From the tip-off buzz to the post-game rap. If you rock with the Bulls, you rock with Bulls on Tap.
Welcome to Bulls on Tap, guys. Man, that intro goes hard. I was sitting here, I was like head nodding the whole time. Shout out to Sal for making that. How you doing today, Sal?
Good, man. Good, man. That intro, it took me forever to make it, man. I really tip my hat to like editors and people who do visual design, man. That is not as easy as people think. It took me about like 6 hours. I mean, I was on there for a while.
Man, that Jordan part where he's jumping from the free throw line, cinema. That was perfect.
Thank you. That was the hardest part because like trying to get it inside the words and tracking him, because every time I'd have him squared up, he'd jump out of his name. So I had to like track him. Sure. So I hope you guys appreciate it. Please let me know in the comments. What do you think?
They got to be loving it. So we got a hell of an episode lined up for you guys today. But I want to start off with something that Sal said the other day. If you guys haven't listened to his main podcast, Horns Over Hoops, give it a listen, subscribe to it. It's one of the best Bulls podcasts on there. But yesterday on your podcast, at least I think you released it yesterday. I was listening yesterday, but you were talking about NBA Jam, and your NBA Jam trivia question was who were the two original Chicago Bulls in the original game. And it got me thinking, man, if NBA Jam existed today, which they should bring it back today because NBA 2K, it's a little played out. I haven't enjoyed that game in a long time. We could use something like that for sure. If they brought it back today, would the Chicago Bulls have the worst two-man group of anybody in the game?
Who would even be who we throw out there? I'm assuming it's just going to be Giddey and Matas. So
yep,
I don't know.
Bouzales.
I think as a whole on NBA Jam, that might be a lethal team, man. Like Giddey with the passing and then Matas with the. I mean, the game is called NBA Jam, and Matas has some incredible jams. So I don't know. I think we wouldn't be super terrible, but I mean, I'm not saying we're going to be top tier, but definitely we're going to be a force to be reckoned with on that game.
And more from like an entertainment standpoint, because you use the Sonics as your example, and people back then, I mean, Shawn Kemp was the man back then. Shawn Kemp was like one of the realizations to me that like sometimes a guy isn't as good as you remember him to be. So when I remember Shawn Kemp, I'm like, this dude had to have been averaging like 30 points and 12 rebounds. You look at his career stats, and it's like 18 points most seasons, like 6 to 8 rebounds. Like he wasn't that dominant, but his style was great. And then you had Detlef Schrempf. Gary Payton wasn't in the original game, you said, but that would have been the go-to duo. So I mean more from like an entertainment standpoint. Like would kids be out here picking Josh Giddey and Matas Bouzales over like if they ran with the Hornets, they got LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, or the Detroit Pistons, you got Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren. Like thinking entertainment-wise with the Bulls, can you think of a team entertainment-wise that would have less sizzle than the Chicago Bulls in NBA Jam?
Less sizzle?
Yeah.
See, because I'm putting my bias in there. So me personally, that would be, of course, that'd be the top team I pick. But I mean, you got teams like with Ant and Julius and Minnesota, like you'd have to be a Bulls fan to pick them first, like we are. But less sizzle, I don't know. I'd like to think maybe Portland.
Yeah.
Sure Portland would have less of a sizzle.
Yeah.
That's really about it.
You gotta throw Brooklyn out there. Like, can you name two Brooklyn Nets right now?
I mean, if MPJ still plays,
yeah.
MPJ and shoot, I can't. You got me there.
But I say all of this to say that Josh Giddey, he's kind of been talking about right now, especially among Bulls fans, because the Ringer just released their top 100. So they go through it. I think they update it every 2 months or so, and they rank the top 100 players in the NBA. Josh Giddey was the only Chicago Bull to make the ranking. He checked in at number 61. How did you feel about that ranking?
I mean, given the season, how he's kind of battled some injuries, and We've kind of changed the whole entire dynamic of the team on him. I mean, adequately. I mean, I'm going through that list, and I really don't see very many people who deserve to be lower. I mean, one or two, but then when you click on their stats, because the Ringer gives you that option to click on them and go in depth, like after reading the stats and whatnot and the games played. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it was pretty fair. What about you?
I thought it was pretty fair. I saw some people mad at some names he was over. The one that surprised me, a lot of people were like, "How is Norman Powell ahead of him?" Norman Powell was an All-Star this year, and the Miami Heat have a better record than the Chicago Bulls. So obviously, Norman Powell is going to be ranked a little bit higher than Josh Giddey. The Darius Garland one, I think that one is more reputation based because Darius Garland, he's been an All-Star 2 times, I think, in the NBA. Been on playoff teams where Josh Giddey, he just hasn't yet. So I didn't really have a problem with it. I will say, if anything, I was a little surprised that he was so high just because recently he hasn't been very good and the Bulls haven't won very many games. So in my eyes, he's kind of lucky that the voting was done when it was done, because if it was done today, I think he would drop into the 70s based on his last 4 games. I got his stats pulled up here. In his last 4 games, I think we all can agree he just hasn't been good. He probably hasn't been healthy. It's a hamstring injury he's recovering from. That takes time. But in the last 4 games, he's averaging 11.5 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 4.8 assists. He's only shooting 36% from the field. And his turnover percentage is up to 45% right now, which is alarming. He's had, 16 turnovers in the last 4 games. It's been a huge problem for him. His plus minus over the last 4 games, negative 16.3 on average. So since the All-Star break, Josh Giddey's been pretty bad. Like I said, I'm giving him some leeway on the hamstring stuff, but what have been your impressions of Josh Giddey since coming back from the All-Star break?
I mean, honestly, I mean, to put it fairly, like you alluded to, he's been hurt and we shuffled the deck on him. So team chemistry, a lot of people take for granted just exactly what team chemistry does to your organization, because people that know where you're going to be on the basketball court makes you a lot better. It's kind of like in football, when you got a good QB that just knows this wide receiver can run 10. I can just throw the ball to a spot and I know he's going to be there. That's the type of player I see Josh Giddey as. Is some of his passes he'll throw to a spot, and you as being on the team and playing under him, you know that's where I got to be. You know what I mean? So he really hasn't had much time, both with health and with chemistry, to kind of gel with these new additions. And with us constantly shuffling the lineup up on him, he really doesn't have much of an opportunity. I mean, for me, Josh Giddey this year, I feel like he has more pressure on himself because he's going to be playing alongside some of these guys next year. So it's really up to him to see who he fits in with the most this year. Now, some of those turnovers are alarming. Yeah, turnovers are turnovers. They're going to happen. Sometimes when it rains, it pours. You know what I mean? But I take it with a grain of salt, man. I still think when he's fully healthy, Josh Giddey is among the tops in the league in the guard position, man.
I do agree with what you're saying with the chemistry thing. I think Josh Giddey really misses the teammates that we lost. I think he really misses Nikola Vucevic. For as much as we got on Vooch, he had a nice 2-man game with Josh Giddey. Like, how many times did we see Giddey get into the paint, hit a little, pocket pass for a mid-range Vooch, or even get it to the top of the key for one of Vooch's threes? And that element, it's gone. Like, we like having the athleticism of Nick Richards and Yabusele. And Yabusele has a little bit of that top of the key 3-point game, but the mid-range stuff isn't there anymore. Even like Vooch, a lot of times he would get that little pocket pass in the paint and he'd go up with that little one-hand floater, and that was usually money, and that usually came from Josh Giddey penetrating and finding him with it. Now that's not there for him anymore, so that changes how he plays. And I agree with what you're saying with the guards too. Like, he had, especially the end of last year, that stretch we had last year post All-Star break, him and Kobe had a really good your turn, my turn thing going, where when Kobe was feeling it, Giddey knew how to clear out, and Giddey also knew where to be to get the passes from from Kobe to get the open threes. And this year, he doesn't know how to play with an Anthony Simons yet. Anthony Simons is a very different player than Kobe White. Kobe White still I think he's more of a point guard than Anthony Simons. He has he has more playmaking in his game than Simons. And, he hasn't really had a chance to play with Rob Dillingham much. The minutes they've shared so far together haven't been good. It's a lot that he's had to adjust to. So yes, it's a lot of the health, but it's a lot of the chemistry too. And the part that concerns me isn't necessarily the shooting percentages as much as it is like the rest of his game just isn't there right now. Like he's not hitting the glass the way that he used to, and he's not getting the assists the way that he used to either.
Yeah, honestly, and to be honest with you, what makes it equally as bad is not just Josh Giddey playing with these new additions. Is the new additions got to learn how to play with Josh Giddey as well. One hand washes the other. I mean, it's not just, we're not trying to put this all on the shoulders of a Josh Giddey. Don't get me wrong, but it's also other players that's surrounding him need to kind of understand how Josh Giddey plays before they can get better, which in turn makes Josh Giddey better. And the end of the day, Josh Giddey is way too talented of a player to not have it click. So I'm anticipating by next season, you're going to see a totally different Josh Giddey. Both in, hopefully the health stays there. I know hamstrings are kind of nagging injuries, but hopefully health and wise he'll Alejandro. I'm just hoping that we get a more healthy Josh Giddey. We're all playing for next season. Moral of the story, we're all looking into next season right now. Not to say that we want to lose out the rest of the games, but I think Bulls fans, we can all agree that from this point on, we're kind of looking more into the future than right now. The only thing we're really looking into right now is what pieces can we carry into the season that's coming up.
Yep, 100% agree. Let me go through let me go through 50 through 61 on that list, and you just tell me if there's anybody on that list you would have put Josh Giddey ahead of. So at 50, we got Stephon Castle. 51 is Brandon Ingram. Keontae George checks in at 52. Ivan Zubac, he's at 53. Desmond Baines, 54. Jaden McDaniels, 55. Dylan Brooks, 56. Mikal Bridges, 57. Brandon Miller, 58. Jared Allen, 59. And Darius Garland at 60. Of those 10 names, is there anybody that you would make a case for Josh Giddey over?
I mean, you touched on it earlier with the Garland, but everyone else, I mean, initially I thought of the Keontae George right away. I'm like, all right, that definitely he should have been higher than Keontae George. But at the same time, if you click on his stats, man, Keontae George is averaging like 24 points. I mean, yeah, it's on kind of a struggling and reset button hitting Utah Jazz team, but man, he's still a standout player. I think if you took Keontae George and put him on a different franchise, that team gets leaps and bounds a lot better. So not really a lot of names. And again, I want to stress that's how it is from this season, given the lack of success with wins, given the injuries, because I don't think Bulls fans quite understand how badly injury riddled this team has been, which plays huge dividends into it. So I maybe the Darius Garland one spot.
Yep. And the other thing people need to realize with some of these lists too is when you're talking, player versus player, it doesn't always just come down to the stats, because Josh Giddey, he has better stats than some guys that are ahead of him. I mean, you look at that list that if you put Josh Giddey's stats next to Stephon Castle's, Josh Giddey's stats look better. But when you watch the Spurs, you're like, okay, Stephon Castle is one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA. He's got a nice two-man game with Wemby. Like, he's not allowed to do as much with the ball as Josh Giddey does. Desmond Bain kind of fits into that contact too, or that context as well. Jaden McDaniels, he's another one. Like, if you look at his stats, you're like, 13 points a game, 5 rebounds. It's nothing too impressive. But when you watch the game and you watch the role that he plays and the defensive impact that he has, that goes into these rankings as well. So, people are they're going to rank a guy like Mikal Bridges, who's putting up pretty pedestrian stats compared to what we've seen him do in the past. They're just going to put that ahead of something that Josh Giddey's doing because the Knicks are so much more successful than the Bulls. And Mikal Bridges is fitting his game into that rather than, I'm sure if you look at this list from, 3 years ago when he was putting up big stats on a bad Nets team, I'm sure Mikal Bridges was a bunch of spots below where he is right now because we value winning and we value players kind of fitting their game into a winning atmosphere, if that makes sense.
100%. 100%.
So some of the names after Giddey are kind of interesting too. Like at 62, you got Trae Young. He hasn't really played this year. That's definitely a reputation spot. 63 is Andrew Nemhard. I'm a gigantic Andrew Nemhard fan because in the playoffs, time and time again, he shows up. Isaiah Hartenstein, 64. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, 65. Jalen Suggs, 66. Peyton Watson, 67. Naz Reid, 68. Peyton Pritchard, 69. And our boy Alex Caruso checking in at number 70. Is there anybody there you think got kind of shafted? Do you think anybody there maybe should be put up a few spots? Anybody there you'd take over Josh Giddey?
Taking over? No, I don't think so. You got to think, man, with Josh Giddey is a building block that you build around, man. And that's the thing. People understand he's very young. I think he's still 23, 24. I can't think of too many names on that list that I'd want to build a franchise around. I mean, let's just face it. When Josh Giddey's fully healthy, the man, forget about walking double-double. He has the potential to be a walking triple-double. Yep. You know what I mean? That man could fill out the stat sheet with the best of them. So do I think that I'd rather have anyone? No. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's hard. I don't think so. No.
I got to agree with you. I got to inject a little bit of my own personal bias in there. So I'm a Minnesota guy, born and raised here. I root for any Minnesota fan. I'm like 2 blocks away from where Trey Jones grew up, and I've been watching him since high school. So my guy, Jalen Suggs, I think I'd probably take him over Josh Giddey just because I like Jalen Suggs a lot. I think what he brings on the defensive end, I think it's special. I think he's one of the best, probably 10 perimeter defenders in the NBA. I think on the offensive end, he's grown a lot. He still has a lot of growing to do in that regard. But if he wasn't playing with ball-dominant players like Paulo Banchero and he wasn't playing with Franz Wagner, if you switched Giddey with Jalen Suggs, I think he could replicate some of what Giddey does. But I will say Josh Giddey is probably just flat out a better player at this stage right now when you factor in the health. Because Jalen Suggs, for as much as I like him, as tough as he is, the guy plays about 45 to 50 games every year. So that would be probably the only guy that I'd make a case for on that list after Giddey.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on there, we can transition this. Actually, we could tie this in too, because another debate about the Ringer 100 from Bulls fans. We're one of the few teams that only has one player in this. A lot of teams that got 3, 4. I mean, the Hornets had 4 guys in it. Our boy Kobe White was still in the top 100 despite not really playing for a month. A lot of people were asking, where is Modest Buzelis? Like they really couldn't believe where Modest was. Let me pull it up. Let me see here. Let's go 90 through 100 and just see who they got in over Buzelis. So starting at 90, Donovan Klingon, we're going to get to see him up close and personal. Well, he's questionable tonight now, isn't he? I thought I saw that tag before coming in, but we were going to see him up close and personal. Dante DiVincenzo is 91. Another guy we're going to see up close and personal tonight, Toumani Camara, 92. Onyeka Okongwu's 93. Cam Johnson's 94. BJ Edgecombe's 95. Isaiah Stewart's 96. Tari Eason's 97. Our boy Ayo Dosunmu is 98. John Collins is 99. And Paul George is still somehow on this list at 100. That must be like a Lifetime Achievement Award or something.
The Ringer must just be subbed to Paul George's podcast.
I think, after looking at that list pretty closely, it's kind of crazy that Modest Buzelis wasn't on here. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo, good role player on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm 99.9% sure if the Bulls called the Timberwolves up and offered Modest Buzelis for Dante DiVincenzo, the Wolves would say yes before the Bulls had a chance to realize they were making a giant mistake. I do like Toumani Camara. He's made all defensive team. He's a good player. Onyeka Okongwu is a good player, but I'm just taking Modest Buzelis ahead of him. Cam Johnson, I understand that. He's got the winning pedigree, and he's in Denver now. BJ Edgecombe, I'm surprised he's not higher than 95, to be honest. BJ, every time you watch the Sixers, he jumps off the screen. Isaiah Stewart, I'm definitely taking Modest Buzelis over him. Tari Eason, that seems to be – do you watch a lot of Rockets? Because there are a lot of Bulls fans that want us to sign Tari Eason. What do you think about that fit?
I'll be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of Rockets games. I mean, I have heard like Tari Eason, I've always known to be a standout player. And I know he was highly regarded during that Kobe White trade. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the piece that Houston was like, nah, you're not getting him. I'm sorry. Like, nah, that ain't happening. Cause correct me if I'm wrong. I thought we were going after him, Jabari Smith Jr. So for Houston to want to hang on to Tari Eason, I figure he's a volatile role of their building to the future. So
absolutely. You're You're right. Like when the Rockets were reportedly checking in on Kobe White, they were not trying to give up Tari Eason or Jabari Smith. I think they were trying to give up Dorian Finney-Smith, which the Bulls didn't really have interest in, and that's why those talks really didn't go anywhere. But Tari Eason, he's a good player, obviously, to be 97 on a top 100 list when I think he's like the seventh or eighth guy in Houston right now in minutes played. That shows how good you are. I do hesitate when it comes to what we're going to pay him this offseason if we do go after him because he is a restricted free agent. And historically, to get a restricted free agent, you just have to overpay. Otherwise, the other team is going to match it. So
Yep.
I hesitate a little bit that way, but he's only 24 years old. He's 6'8", 215 pounds. He's long. He's athletic. He plays both sides. So I wouldn't mind him at all. But the other names, after him, Ayo Dosunmu, that one's tough. Like, would I rather have Ayo? Would I rather have Modest? And we're just talking about right now. We're not talking about in the future. We're not talking about their contracts. We're talking about as players on your team right now. If you're trying to win a championship, would you rather have Ayo or would you rather have Modest?
Trying to go after a championship or building to a championship are two different things. So, wow, that's a loaded question. I love Ayo. Let me just get that straight. I love Ayo Dosunmu. The man is just a good fundamental player, and that's what the NBA is lacking. It's lacking more fundamental players. Like I said, Ayo Dosunmu, what he does, it's not flashy, it's fundamental, and I think again that gets overlooked. But Modest is flashy. Modest will turn heads. Modest has the ability to change the momentum of the game, man. Some of those throwdown dunks that he does, man, you see the other team walking to the other end of the gym with their jaw on the floor, man. And I feel like that's special. Now, as much as I love Ayo Dosunmu, I'd probably have to veer on the side of Modest Buzelis just because of his size, his ability to hit the long ball, his athleticism. And you know what? That might just be me. But I think that Modest has more upside than an Ayo. That's just me.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough call, especially if you're putting it in the context of I'm trying to win a title this year. Which player would I rather have? Ayo, he gives you the ability to guard the backcourt and the front court. We've seen him play up in size and guard guys who are like 6. I mean, when they played the Timberwolves before they traded him there, he was guarding Julius Randle for major stretches. So we've seen defensive versatility from him. Ayo does have a nice long ball. He's one of the best downhill finishers in the NBA. All that being said, though, when you combine Buzelis' length, his athleticism, his weak side shot blocking is definitely a weapon too. I think I agree. I think I would take Modest Buzelis over Ayo Dosunmu, even though it's close. And the other two names on that list at 99, John Collins, he's a guy. Whenever they play the Chicago Bulls, John Collins, he has a hell of a game. I don't know what it is about the Bulls. I don't know if it's just their defensive identity or what, but that man goes off every time. And Paul George, I mean, everybody would take Modest Buzelis over Paul George right now. So it's kind of crazy that Modest didn't really make it on this list yet, but it brings me to a larger discussion that I want to have is the Modest Buzelis conversation in general, because it's a talking point on Bulls Twitter right now. People are going back and forth. There's certain people. You're seeing the haters come out. I'm seeing people, every time he loses his dribble or every time he doesn't take a mid-range shot that we think he should have taken, or he misses a three, or he takes a step back, people are like, this kid sucks. Like, the Bulls screwed up his development. And then you see the other side. You see, people still comparing him to Giannis or saying he needs to play a little bit more like Kevin Durant. Or where do you fall on Modest this year? Like, how do you think he has played relative to what you expected coming into the season?
I mean, my image of him is skewed just because of the fact that I'm a firm believer that the sophomore slump is a real thing, and tying in the fact that this team is really not set up for any sort of success for this season, not at all. I'm just saying for this season, we're kind of trending on the downside. So I would have loved to have seen him take more. If this is the guy that Chicago wants to be the man, if this is the guy that the Bulls are like, here's the keys, you're driving now. These last, 20 games there, I would have loved to have seen him take a more assertive role in the rotation, and play every game like he did the last game against who do we just get done losing by Charlotte. If he plays every game like that, they'll be fine. I don't think we screwed up his development just because I don't really don't think we screwed up his development. He's 21 years old. This is his second year. He's still got long ways to go. People got to understand, like, at the drop of he won't hit his prime until what, 20? What is it? What is prime now? 29?
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about how long a prime can go, like LeBron James' prime went till he was what, 38 years old. We got primes are going longer than ever right now. I mean, James Harden is still doing it at an age where most guys slow down. Russell Westbrook had a triple-double the other night. So Buzelis should have a long career ahead of him.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it'll just take time. That's the problem. And Bulls fans, we're very impatient. It's just going to take time because, hey, next season, guess what could happen? That guy it could click for him, and this man is fitting the mold of like your Kevin Durant's or your Paul, or you know what I mean. It could click for him, but it's just going to take time. Look what happened to Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen had an incredible rookie year, sophomore slump. We traded his ass, and he's on an all-star team. And he's like, what is he, number 27 on the top 100?
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot of that in him, and I'm hoping that we don't go that route and be like, oh, you know what? Let's just give up on him, because the kid's got a lot of upside. I don't think people understand quite how good Matas Buzelis is going to be. Could it be the staff surrounding him? Maybe. The only way to find that out is if you shuffle the deck on the staff a bit. But for the staff that we got, he's still doing a phenomenal job, man.
I got to agree. Shout out to Samity and Guilty in the chat there. Guilty, you keep fighting the battles in the trenches, buddy. And the thing with Matas Buzelis and development too is people got to realize that development and progress, it's not linear. Like, you don't just always go, if you're going from point A to point B, it's not always a straight line. Sometimes you take 3 steps forward, you take 2 steps back. That's just the way that it works. We all want it to be smooth. We want it to be like an NBA 2K where you start a franchise and the dude has, 95 potential. And by year 2, he's at a 90 already and he's averaging 25 a game. But this is real life. That's not how this works in real life. So from my perspective, I actually think Buzelis is developing quite nicely. There are some things that have been overblown, like the mid-range thing. It's been a little overblown. It's a fun talking point. It comes from the origin of it, if people don't know. It was him, it was Josh Giddey, it was Io DeSumo. They were on the Old Man and the 3 podcast early in the year when we were on that hot streak. And they told a story where in Buzelis' rookie year, he took a step back jump shot mid-range, and Billy told him, take that shit, throw it in the trash. So now everybody's like, well, they're not allowed to take mid-ranges. Is there some truth to it? I think there's some truth in the fact that Billy Donovan discourages mid-ranges because he wants shots either at the rim or at the 3-point line. But I don't think he's explicitly being told, like, if you're open, you cannot shoot a mid-range pass out of it. But at the same time, we can't ignore the fact that he does look a little more hesitant when it comes to that mid-range game. I see a lot of instances 2-3 times a game where he's driving, he gets bumped, he kind of steps back a little bit. It looks like there's space. Like if that was DeMar DeRozan, that ball is going up. We all know that mid-range is going up. And instead he picks it up and he kind of gets stuck in no man's land. And I'm not sure if that's a Billy Donovan thing. I'm not sure if that's a being young thing, if that's a confidence thing. It could be a lot of different things. From your perspective, what do you think about this whole, it's become a polarizing topic, this whole topic of Matas Buzelis and mid-range jump shots. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's almost to the point where you're intimidated to answer the question because whatever answer you give, you're going to have a bunch of people saying, what are you talking about? I mean, I think honestly, it's more, Matas, if he's south of the 3-point line, he's not really looking for the midi. He's looking to come and dunk in your face, man. I rarely ever see him do, look for a pull-up shot. He's looking to drive the paint and dunk in your face. Now, I know Billy did say take that and throw in the trash to the mid-range, but I know he's more of a he's a three-point minded coach, and it shows itself when you got 5 Bulls players standing around the perimeter and nobody is crashing the lane to go for an easy lay into the bucket. Stacey King has a field day. He's like, why isn't anyone rolling to the basket? So, I mean, I would like me personally, I would like to see him develop more of a mid-range, because look at players like your Kevin Durant, who's made a living from the mid-range at it. And it's like an arsenal to him. The man you just mentioned, DeMar DeRozan, perhaps one of the best mid-range shooters of our time. And I would like to see Matas just develop a little bit more and add that to the bag. I mean, as much as I like him shooting the threes, I think that people know that he's either going in for a dunk or he's shooting a three. I'd like to see him add that mid-range because now you keep them on their toes and they're guessing. Is he going to put the ball up in the air from beyond the arc, or is he putting it on the ground, taking 2 steps and pulling up a midi in my face?
Yeah, the last thought that I have on the mid-range game when it comes to Buzelis too is MK Hoops. He tweeted it out yesterday, I think it was, and it was a really surprising statistic. He took Jason Tatum's shot profile last year, and it is the same as Modest Buzelis is this year as far as 3-point rate, mid-range rate. Like you think of Jason Tatum, you think of a true 3-level scorer. He'll hit you from 3. He can take it to the rim. I think of him, and I think of mid-range jump shots. He seems to be one of the guys who does still have that in his bag. But when you break down the numbers, he's actually not shooting that many mid-range jump shots. It was something like 10, 11%. So maybe Buzelis is just kind of playing that more modern shot profile, shot diet. I think it's a massive disservice when his shots lean. Like if he has 14 shot attempts and 8 of them are from 3, I think that's a disservice to the type of athlete that he is and the type of downhill style he should be playing. But I also understand this is the modern NBA, and that's what's kind of being coached into him. From your perspective, where do you think he's grown the most this year compared to last year?
I would say character. And I mean that in the sense of he's grown up, man. Like you could tell that this is a guy who, let's face it, when he was a rookie, and he didn't get very much playing time until the back end of the season. He'd play 10 minutes here, make a mistake, Billy would pull him out, then we wouldn't see him for 2-3 games, go back out there the 10 minutes. And then later on after the trade deadline, you finally started seeing him in the starting rotation. But you see him make his mistakes and not hang his head, man. Like there'll be times where he's jogging back up the court and I don't even tell that, that guy just gave up a turnover on the other end because he's blocking some dude's shot off the backboard at the other end. So he's starting to develop that character, and he's always had that kind of, I don't know, what do the kids call it nowadays? That look, but as far as like what part of his game he's developed, I mean, I'd say he's hitting that 3 ball with more consistency now. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's even doing it with hands in his face now.
100% agree. I was going to say, like, I think his catch and shoot 3 is the area of his game that has improved the most. Like when he gets it on a catch and shoot opportunity, I just assume it's going in now, where last year I did not think it was going in whenever he shot it. And the shot, it looks cleaner. It looks like it's coming a little more consistent. You're seeing too, when he's off ball and he's spotting up, he's staying ready. Like he's keeping his hands in that shooter pocket, which you love to see from a kid like that, especially somebody that young who, face it, man, for most of Modest Buzelis' youth career, he was not a catch and shoot player. He was just getting the ball and being allowed to do whatever he wanted. So it's nice to see that from him. So we know where he's improved, the catch and shoot game. You mentioned the character. I think the character definitely comes into play too. That quote that he had after the last game where you could tell he was emotional about losing 10 in a row. He's taking these to heart. He's taking these losses hard. And that's what I like to see. I like to see a guy who has that dog in him. So we know where he's improved this year. From your perspective, where does he still need to go? What does he still need to improve the most next year? What should be the main focus for him going into this offseason?
2 things. One, probably maybe settle down a little bit. And I'm not saying like pump your brakes, but just settle down. I mean, I want him to still have that energy. I want him to still provide that spark. I still want him to be our catalyst to all those big runs, but also kind of let the game come to you more than just take it over. Read the situation. I lost my train of thought what my second part was, but I was honestly just settle down, let the game come to you, man. It's a long NBA career, dude. Don't gas yourself all in the first 2 years, man. You are going to be one of the great players in Chicago Bulls history. I can guarantee you that. Just relax, let the game come to you, and whatever development that comes to you, don't be afraid to take the front seat. Don't be afraid to get in the driver's seat, man. By this time next year, I want to start Mutas Buzelis having some plays run through him, like as far as him taking the ball up the court and putting people in position. I want to see him show that growth as far as, now I am the man. This is my team. Me and Josh, this is our team. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see going into next year and for the duration of his career.
It's mighty bold of you to say he's going to be one of the best Chicago Bulls in Bulls history when Arturas Karnisovas is running the show. But I like the positivity. I like the optimism for sure. From my perspective, the thing he needs to improve on the most this year, it's simple in some aspects and it's incredibly hard in other aspects. And this is something that applies to a lot of people, not in basketball, but just in life in general. He needs to deal with adversity better. He needs to learn how to play through adversity. The example that I just gave you, where it seems like he'll have mid-range opportunities when he's taking the ball to the hoop, as soon as he meets defensive resistance, as soon as somebody puts their body on him, they stand him up. They stop him in his tracks. He doesn't dribble through the contact. He picks his dribble up. He immediately looks for a pass. He looks for the bailout. To be one of the elite shot creators, the elite scorers, the elite players in the game, you have to be able to play through adversity. You have to be able to play through that contact. Like when you're driving to the rim, you're not going to get there unimpeded. Watch Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is never unimpeded. He's taking the contact. He's still getting his shot off. Even the freak athletes. And Modest Buzelis, I think he is A+ athlete. I do not think he is in that freak athlete category. I reserve that for like Anthony Edwards, VJ Edgecombe, guys where you're just like, I've never seen a human being do that before. But even a guy like Anthony Edwards, he still has to play through contact. He has to play through adversity. He doesn't just blow by guys with the first step. So that's the thing with Modest that I see when I watch him is he kind of gives up on the plays too much. He lets the adversity get to him a little too much. He doesn't like when he's meeting that defensive resistance, when he gets hit in the mouth, he's not hitting back.
That's a good way to put it.
So continuing on here with a couple more Modest Buzelis thoughts. One thing that they have been doing lately, and it's been since the All-Star break, they've been starting him at the 2 guard. How do you feel about that?
I mean, at this point, whatever works, right? I mean, like, why not? We have 20-something games left to play. Why not? If it's not hindering his development, honestly, is there really even like tried and true positions anymore? Like I grew up in a generation where you had a slotted point guard, you had a slotted shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. Now it's like you just throw 5 men out there. You know, the only thing guaranteed is the center. That's it. So honestly, why not? Because hey, add a little bit of height on the guard position, give it a shot. He gets to play in tandem directly with your Josh Giddey. Why not? That opens the door for other opportunities. I'll say this, if it's not working, I'd ask Billy to please stop that before it gets out of control. But why not? You know, try everything. Don't put him at center by any stretch of the imagination. Don't put him at center, but why not? He's already played power forward, small forward. Why not? Shooting guard, point guard. Why not? Last 10 games, put him out there in point guard.
I do think he is more of a shooting guard than a power forward. I think he's a true small forward for sure. But power forward, you know, we're kind of, I don't know if people realize this, but we're kind of easing out of the era of small ball. Small ball took over forever, and we had, 4 guys out there who were 6'5" and under. And now you're seeing the winning teams. You're seeing OKC, people are calling it double big, and it's like that's just a center and a power forward. That's not a double big. Minnesota, New York, Cleveland, like a lot of successful teams are going back to that, having a true center, having somebody with some size at the 4 spot. So I don't think Modest Buzelis can be a 4 with the way that the league is leaning, nor do I think we should try to make him a 4. That was a problem, I thought, with Lauri Markkanen's development, is we really wanted him to be a 4. And then you saw in Utah, he's playing the 3. I've seen him play a little 2 in Utah. Like, he's just going out there and playing basketball. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to Modest, is just let this dude go out there and play basketball. And we got, 20-something games left in the season. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if we took a page out of Jason Kidd's book and we started playing him at point guard. Like, that's what Kidd was doing at the beginning of the year with Cooper Flagg. He was like, I'm going to put this kid in the most uncomfortable positions possible, and I'm going to force growth. If you put somebody in an uncomfortable position, they're either going to grow or they're going to bail. And if they bail, well, then what their makeup is. And I don't think Modest Buzelis has the makeup to bail. I think he has the chemical makeup where he's going to grow. So play him at the 2 guard, play him at the point guard. I've seen a couple of possessions where Giddey is giving the ball to Buzelis and letting Buzelis take it up. And that goes for Giddey too. Put Giddey in some uncomfortable positions. People are so hamstrung on Josh Giddey. He has to be a point guard. He has to be a point guard. And I've said from the start, why wouldn't it benefit the Bulls for him to develop an off-ball game, for him to develop game as a small forward, as an off-ball screener, as an off-ball roll man. Like what that would only benefit the Bulls. He doesn't need to be pigeonholed into I'm only going to be a point guard, because if you're stuck being a point guard and you're telling me you can't do anything else, you're just not that valuable of a basketball player, in my opinion.
Yeah. Honestly, because if you look at like back from when we were watching basketball, the point guard position alone has evolved, multiple times. I mean, look at back in the, I mean, I hate being, I'm going to use the Gen Z term. I hate being that unk that's like, look at Ron Harper when he was on the Bulls, man. Like Ron Harper was just the distributor. His job was just get the ball to Jordan. Like back in the day, point guards were just set up the play and put people in the position that they need to score the points. I don't need to score the points, but I'll get you the ball. You do it. You know what I mean? Then, kind of what is in the mid 2010s, we're like, all right, now the point guard is starting to be that I got to score all the points. And now, like you said, we're kind of back to seeing like the point guard's the distributor again. You know what I mean? Yeah, they get their points, but I think that's just because of how fast paced the game is now, that you're naturally just going to get your touches and your points. But why not? Throw your best players out there, rover them around, and wherever they succeed, keep them there. Let Matas take the ball up the court. Unks over hoops podcast. Sorry, I got distracted by Guilty, man. Shout out Guilty. But I used to be in the mindset where if you're a three, he's got to stay a three. I used to be in that mindset where I was a little upset when Billy would start Modest at the power forward, and it's like, why? He's a small forward. Put him at the small forward position. It's like banging your head on the table. It's like, why are you doing this? It used to drive me nuts when they called the Vooch and the Jalen Smith lineup the double big, because alluding back to when I was, when I was watching basketball, that wasn't a double big. That was just the lineup. You know what I mean? You didn't see many power forwards, south of 6'8". So, you know what I mean? So that was your power forward. Jalen Smith is what, 6'10"?
I think he's 6'8".
6'8", yeah. I mean, he's built like a power forward. I mean, honestly, I think that from where the Bulls are right now, just see what works, because next season it's all going to look differently. See what works this season that you can take into next season.
And this would be a lot different too if the Bulls were in a playoff position. Like obviously, if you were competing for a playoff spot, put the guys in their most successful spots. Like put Buzelis at the three, let him cook, give him the biggest chance to succeed. We're not in a playoff position. We're not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to make the play-in. These last 25 games are all about development. And like I said, the best way to develop somebody is to make them uncomfortable, put them in the most uncomfortable position. So play Buzelis at the three, play him at the two, play him at the one. Hell, play him at small ball five if you want to. If you want to just put a track and field lineup out there, go for it. Make this kid uncomfortable. Force the growth from him. Let him see some different looks. And I got to admit, I was wrong on this one, because at the beginning of the year, I was calling for Jason Kidd's head when he was putting Cooper Flag at the point guard. I was like, this is the stupidest thing you could do. This kid, he's new to the NBA. He's a special talent. You shouldn't be making the game harder for him. You should be making it easier for him. I was 100% wrong. Cooper Flag has been fantastic, especially since they took him from the point guard and put him back at the three, back at that wing spot. Like you can tell he learned a lot from his time at the point guard. So obviously Modest Buzelis is not Cooper Flag. They have very different skill sets. They're very different players, but letting Modest Buzelis just do whatever he wants, not whatever he wants, but do everything on the basketball court, give him as much responsibility as possible so that this offseason he knows this is where I got to improve. This is what I really got to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
So tying that into just everything that we've been talking about here, this actually ties in to Samity's question where he asked us he asked with Buzelis and Josh Giddey, and then he threw Noah Essegay in there too. What do you think they need to work on the most this offseason?
It's hard to tell with Noah Essegay because, I mean, we didn't see him much. I mean, the poor kid had, a season-ending injury, and a lot. I know me especially. I had high hopes. I still do. I still have high hopes for Noah Essegay. I think that a lot of Bulls fans have kind of a sour taste in their mouth about Noah because he was, a lot of Bulls fans wanted Derek Queen, and you know what? Cool. Derek Queen probably would have been the player that would have helped right now, but I'm very, very intrigued and interested in the development of Noah Essegay, man. I think that kid can be something special too. Bulls fans, don't write off Noah right now. Honestly, just getting in the gym, man, getting as many reps in as you can, build that chemistry, add to your bag, work on those passes, work on areas that you know you're not the greatest in. What can they improve on? Take the team over, be those alphas. You know what I mean? Be the alpha. This is our team. This is how we want to play. You know what I mean? I think the sky's the limit for those two.
I agree. As far as Noah Essengay goes, I really don't know what he should improve on because we haven't seen him. It's really hard to say this guy needs to improve on something when we haven't seen him yet. And people will throw his tape, from the German league he was in last year. I mean, that to me, that is not applicable at all to the NBA game. Like, those were not NBA quality athletes out there. So just because he was able, like, I've seen the tape and he was really good at foul hunting and getting to the free throw line over there. I don't know that he'll be able to do that in the NBA against this caliber of athletes. So when it comes to Noah Essengay, honestly, just get stronger and get healthy, man. Make your body as ready for the NBA grind as possible, because this guy, he played a little bit in the G League and he got hurt. Like, he made it a month into the season, which isn't great. Like, the NBA season, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So that'd be my biggest thing for Noah Essengay, is just get strong, man. Get your body NBA ready, because to me, it did not look NBA ready. For Modest Buzelis, he has to do that too. His body needs to get it. That'll help him, what I was saying before, with just being able to deal with, defensive resistance and, that kind of stuff. Get stronger. And when I say get stronger, I don't mean he needs to bulk up. I've heard people say, I need him to, put on 20 pounds this offseason. I don't think he needs to do that. I think he just needs to get stronger. Look at Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has maybe gained 10 pounds his entire NBA career, but he's a lot stronger. You look at him, the profile of him now compared to a rookie, he is stronger. His shoulders are broader, and he can take the contact a little better. So Buzelis gets stronger. And Josh Giddey, for Josh Giddey, it's hard to say what he should work on, because it sounds crazy to say because he is 23 years old, but I just don't know what the next level of his game is. Like, he's not going to get faster and more athletic. Those are generally natural gifts that you either have or you don't have. He's cleaned up his three-point shot. Like, he's a good catch and shoot three-point shooter now. I just don't think he's ever going to be a great off the bounce shooter, both in the three-point and the mid-range. His floater, I think he's still shooting sub 40% from the paint this year. So that's something that he should definitely improve. But I just don't know how you go about improving that, because a lot of finishing in the paint and finishing, at the rim, a lot of that is just natural athleticism, being able to jump and hang with these guys. So for Josh Giddey, it's just continue to clean up that shot for him, because there is still a little hitch in it. It still is a little slower to unwind than I would like. But what do you think when it comes to Josh Giddey on the court? Is there a specific skill set that you still want to see him get?
It all depends how he's going to be utilized. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to be the total package, but if there's stuff that he doesn't necessarily, I don't want to say necessarily need, because you could always be that much better, but take what we have right now. I don't really think there's much more. I'd rather have other people improve. You know what I mean? He's such a good ball player that I want to see other people play off of him. You know what I mean? I don't really think there's an area I want to see him improve as much as help his teammates get better. You know what I mean? That spinning floater, that spinning floater is money. That outside shot is money. There's always room for improvement. I agree. There's always room for improvement, but not much. I don't have much that I'm asking.
Shout out to Samity. I feel like Giddey and Mata should take turns being the screener, doing some short roll passing. I love that idea. Like I said earlier, I don't understand why we can't use Giddey as a screener. He's a big body. He's 6'8". What is he? 210, 215, something like that. So he's a big body. He's a strong kid. Use him as a screener. Screen and rolls with Josh Giddey, and then out of that too, you're opening up a lot, because Josh Giddey is a natural passer. So he's going to come off that screen. He's going to get the roll pass. It's not like he's going to be dead set on scoring from there. He's going to be looking to make the second pass. So it could easily lead to more open three-point shot attempts. It could open the floor up for the Chicago Bulls a little bit more. So I agree with you, Samity. I think they should both be using, taking advantage of being big bodies and using themselves as screeners. As far as like a skill, I would like to see Josh Giddey improve on. I would like to see him diversify his bag a little bit, because you did say, that spin into the floater is money. to me, he spams that spin move way too much. Like if he's driving to the hoop, I'm like, there's a spin move coming. It's coming out of nowhere. So I'd like to see him diversify it a little bit, get that Euro step, get the things that I complain about all the time that I say, for 80 years of basketball have been travels. They're not calling them travels. So add that to your bag, diversify your bag a little bit.
Blows my mind, man. Some of the how much you're able to move your feet nowadays, man. Like you said, back in the day, it felt like you got 2 steps and they're calling it a travel. Now I've seen some people take 4 or 5 steps. It's like, no, that wasn't a step. It was a hop step into a pivot foot. You didn't establish this. It's like, what are we doing, man? Like,
dude, it's getting so bad. There was an Andrew Nemhard one the other day. I think I might have retweeted it because I was like, what are we doing here? He got it. He took the ball at the opposite free throw line, and he would take a dribble, and he would have the ball like this, and he would take 4 steps, and then he would take a dribble again, and it was just like he got from one free throw line to the other free throw line in 4 dribbles because he was taking 4 or 5 steps in between each one. And I was just like, this isn't the game I grew up with. Like that would have never been allowed when I was a kid. There was a bad Stephon Castle one the other day in there. I think it was their primetime game against the Pistons where he drove to the hoop and he did the 2 steps and gather, but the second step was his right foot. So his right foot was the last foot planted, and then he hopped on that right foot. So went right to right, then went up. I'm like, that's never been allowed in the history of basketball. But now we're allowing it. So Josh Giddey, if you somehow stumble upon this video, feel free to add that to your bag, man. Diversify that bag a little bit. The spin move is nice. You could always add a little bit more. I know we had another question from Kelder. Did you still have that one pulled up?
I actually do. Yeah, let me pull it up here on the X. Shout out to everyone who left us a question or a comment. If you want to see your comment displayed, just go ahead and type it on the screen. We'll get to it. Chat, see what you got here. All right. Kelder said, do you see Giddey and Matas as a core group, or is there something that needs to be added? Do the Bulls need to add with them in mind?
Do you want to take it first, or should I?
Sure. Why don't you go ahead? Because I got something spiced up.
All right. So I think they need an alpha. That's just what it is. They need that certified. This is the guy when the game is on the line. I can go to him. I can get a bucket. They need a top 15 player in the NBA. And I like Josh Giddey. I like Matas Buzelis. I do not see that ceiling for either of them. As much as I hate to put a ceiling on a guy who's as young as Matas Buzelis, and Josh Giddey is young too. Don't get me wrong. Josh Giddey is 23, 24 years old. But the thing we got to remember with Josh Giddey is he's been playing pro basketball for a while. He's playing professionally in Australia before he ever came into the NBA. So similar to Luka Doncic, he has more miles on him than a typical young player. He's a little more set in his ways than a typical 23-year-old. So yes, Buzelis has a high ceiling. I do not think he has a superstar ceiling. I do not think he has an all-NBA ceiling. I don't think there's going to be a point where he's going to be a top 15 player in the NBA. Does that mean that he's bad? Definitely not. Like Franz Wagner, I have called Matas Buzelis. I've said he can be a more athletic Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner is 24 points a game. He has 6 rebounds. He has 6 assists. He's not sniffing an all-NBA team. Nobody's putting Franz Wagner in their top 15. So for me, the Bulls, they need an alpha. They need somebody who has that potential. Now, whether that's getting lucky in the draft lottery, I believe Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, and AJ Diabata, I think they all have that ceiling. They all could be top 15 players in this league. So that's one way to do it. The other way is a trade. And with a trade, you're going to take on a guy with baggage. You're going to take on a Zion Williamson, who, when he's on, and he's been on lately, he's played like 33 straight games. He's alleviating some of that health concern. When he's on, he is a force. He is absolutely in that realm of that 10 to 20 best players in the NBA. He's a physical force. So if you can get a guy like that, that's one way to do it. Giannis, I think that's a pipe dream. Another guy, me and you both love him, Paolo Banchero. People seem to love hating on Paolo Banchero. I will never sell my property on Paolo Banchero Island. Like that guy, to me, I watched him 2 years in a row show up in the playoffs. Last year, he was severely overmatched against the Boston Celtics. You go look at his stats. He averaged 28 points a game, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists against the Boston Celtics. He wasn't scared of the moment. So if the Bulls can acquire somebody like that, like if your core going forward was Paolo Banchero, Matas Buzelis, and Josh Giddey, yeah, that's a core going forward. So that's my thoughts on, can they be part of the core?
Man, I love a good Paolo Banchero reference, man. That's my paisano, man. Shout out Italian basketball player, man. It's a good start. I'll say that. I mean, I'll add to yours. Do I see Matisse making an all NBA team or Josh Giddey making an all NBA team? It's hard to tell because they're still so early in their career. I will say if we don't do something to help them, there's no chance that that'll happen. I mean, we can't keep. The problem is, like, you're only as good as there are such a thing as standout players, and that's why I call them standout players. But also, team kind of needs to do their part too. You know how many assists could Josh Giddey average if players would just hit their shots? You know what I mean? We're a team. The problem with 3-point shooting teams is when they go in, the game is awesome. It's a fun game to watch, but when they're not going in, it's a miserable game. So surrounding these players with the success to actually be that would ensure getting close to, but I'm trying to think here. I think it could be done. I mean, I'm not going to say that everyone needs help. I mean, I would say look to the draft. I mean, we're sitting pretty good at acquiring a top draft pick. This is a pretty good draft. I think, like you said, developing somebody through the draft would ensure that we have huge success going forward.
100%. Like, obviously, when we get into these talks about whether we should tank or whether we should do this, whether we should do that, like, building through the draft is always option A. The best teams are always built through the draft. The problem is, like, that's not always guaranteed because of the lottery system. There's no way to know what draft pick you're actually going to end up with. So that makes planning a little bit harder because there is especially in this draft, there is a big difference between getting AJ Diabata and a Caleb Wilson. I mean, Caleb Wilson is a nice player for sure. I think he's going to be a very good player in this NBA. I don't think he's going to be that guy who can potentially drag you to the playoffs by yourself. So obviously we want them to draft well and we want them to surround these two with players. But I think we're both in agreement. We just need that alpha. Like, this team has not had a true, like, we had a run from DeMar DeRozan where DeMar DeRozan for a stretch was a top 10 player in the NBA that season. But nobody was going into that season saying DeMar DeRozan is a top 10 player in the NBA. Nobody left that season saying DeMar DeRozan is a top player in the NBA. He just had that stretch where he was. So we haven't had somebody who you could certifiably say was top 10, top 15 since Derrick Rose. And that is, when did he tear his ACL? 15 years ago now?
Yeah. Was it 11, 12?
Yeah.
11, 12,
So
yeah.
It's been a long time, man. That's just, I like Giddey, I like Buzelis, but just let me get that guy who I can write it in pen every year. He is going to be an all-star. Like, let me get that guy in there.
Yeah.
So moving on here, we should probably talk the Bulls. They actually do play basketball tonight. We really haven't referenced it whatsoever, but they do have a basketball game tonight. They got the Blazers. The 5 questions that I had for them tonight was, how will Josh Giddey handle being guarded by Drew Holiday? How's Modest Buzelis going to handle Toumani Kamara's defense? Can the Bulls hold Donovan Klingon under 15 rebounds? He had like 18 against the Timberwolves the other night. But Klingon is apparently out for this game, so they don't have to worry about that anymore. I wrote these at 5 a.m. this morning, so sometimes they become a little outdated. Can Rob Dillingham keep pace with Scoot Henderson? Scoot Henderson quietly, he's been back for a couple games now. He's playing really well off the bench. He had 19 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists the other day in like 20 minutes. And are we going to get any Leonard Miller minutes? Because we are so shorthanded tonight. What do you look at in this game? Like, what are you looking for in this game?
Honestly, it's going to be the same for the rest of the games of this season. Now, again, I'll be the first to say I'm excited for every single game that we play. I'm still happy to watch the games, no matter what the outcome is. But at this point, obviously, go out there and try to get the win, because I will never be an advocate for tanking. I will never say that a team should tank. I think it's a disservice not only to the team but to the game overall. But seeing as though this Bulls team, it benefits them a little more to lose the game, and it just so happens that the team that we're playing tonight, it would really help us out draft wise if they won the game. I would say maybe look towards more playing around with that lineup a little more, seeing what else we can we can muster up. I did see was that Josh Giddey out there with Trey Jones and Bobby D at the same time. I did like that. Give that kid a time to play under some good ball distributors, some good ball handlers, and kind of round out his game. Do I think he's going to keep up with Scoot Henderson? Maybe pace, but definitely not skill wise. Man, Scoot Henderson's on another level. So just show improvements. Honestly, this last 20 games of the season, it's basically a tryout. Show you want to be in Chicago come next year. Show that you want to be a part of this team's success going forward. And if you really don't want to be here, then leave. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see. I just want to see hard hustle and muscle, man. Play to the end. If you lose by 20, you lose by 20. But you know what? I want to see close games losing by, if the game just gets away from you at the final minutes, it gets away. But I want to see hard fought games. If we lose hard. We don't lose softly. But yeah, I think we'll see Leonard Miller.
Yeah, we should be seeing Leonard Miller. It's funny, the game last night, or not last night, 2 nights ago, it was tied like 64-64, and my daughter started fussing, so I took 10 minutes tops to rock her back to sleep. When I came back, it was like 84-66, and I was like, what the hell happened? And that's been Bulls games lately, is the third quarter comes and they just shit the bed and they get blown out. And my wife was asking me, when it was in that blowout stage, she's like, why do you still watch this? Like, they're not good. They don't win games. What's the benefit of watching it? Because she's not a sports person. She's never had a team that she just follows ride or die. And I was just trying to explain, like, they're down bad right now, but the reason we watch is for hope. Like, I'm looking for something to be hopeful for. I'm looking for that Modest Buzelis growth. I'm looking for, Josh Giddey adding to his game. I'm hoping that Rob Dillingham becomes something. Like, ideally, I'm able, 3, 4, 5, 6, hopefully not 7 years from now, when the Bulls are finally good again, when we finally see some sunshine in this fan base, I'm able to look back and be like, I was here at the down times. Like, I don't want to be one of those people who, you've been around the Bulls as long as I have, man. Like, I can remember people where when the Bulls drafted Derrick Rose, they became Chicago Bulls fans. And I was like, cool, I'm never going to dog somebody for being a Chicago Bulls fan. But I'm like, man, I was watching Eddie Curry and Tyson Chandler with, 45-year-old Charles Oakley as their OG back then. Like, I was here in the dog days of this team. So it felt more, impactful to me. So that's why I keep watching, is just a blind loyalty and, just the hope of a better future for this team.
Yeah. In the end of the day, it's love of the team, bro. It's why do we watch this team? I love this team. I don't care what they do. I love this team. If this team gets me upset, it's because I want nothing but good things for this team. But I do understand. I am a realist. I do understand you cannot go out there and win every single year. There's no way that you can go out there and compete, and I mean contend, every single year. There's going to be some buildings. There's going to be some lows. I've experienced, what is it now, three abysses here. I mean, I was watching when Dalibor Bogaric was out there, and we had high hopes for that man. Minnesota native Khalid El-Amin, man. Like that, those were some names that we used to drop. Those were not successful days by any stretch of the imagination, but they were still fun days, because it's those days you truly saw that the Bulls did have some talent, just the team around them was not successful. Tyson Chandler, Jamal Crawford went on to be one of the best 6 men of all time. Eddie Curry went on to commit a few crimes, but that's neither here nor there. But Tyson Chandler, I mean, honestly, it's because we love this team. I love this game. I love this team. There's a reason why I've been watching them for 30 plus years. And there's a reason why, hopefully, God willing, I'll be watching them for another 30 more, unless they move to Indiana.
And I think, honestly, that's one of the selling points of Bulls on Tap putting me and you together, is like, you can disagree with my takes. You can say I'm too negative, I'm too whatever. You can't deny the fact that I love the Chicago Bulls. Like, I've been a fan of this team since 1997, and I've stuck here through the dog days. You mentioned Khalid El-Amin. I remember being excited for Khalid El-Amin. I remember liking him at UConn and thinking that dude was the point guard of the future. I think he lasted like 1 season in Chicago. I can remember the sweeping the Heat in the 2007 playoffs, and then thinking like, okay, now we're adding Joakim Noah to this team. We could go to like the conference finals or the NBA finals. Like, this is the start of something. And then, Scott Skiles ran his course and he pissed everybody off. and we sucked for a year, but we got Derrick Rose out of it, so I can't really be mad at that. But like me and you we're old. I mean, we're old heads. It just is what it is. We're talking about, early 2000s and late 90s basketball, but we genuinely love this team. Like, don't get anything twisted about what I say about this team. I want the Chicago Bulls to be good. I wear a Chicago Bulls hat every day when I go to work. Do you think I like people coming up and being like, man, what's going on with the Bulls? They fucking suck. I hate it. I want people to come up, be like, man, the Bulls really got a chance this year, don't they? Like, I want this team to be good.
Mm-hmm. I say it all the time, man. Like, there's a reason why they don't sell Lego sets already built, man. Half the fun is in the building. You know what I mean? If you get a Lego set, that's what the Bulls are right now. We're just a Lego set, and we're missing the instructions. We got to put it together ourselves. Does that mean we're just going to throw the box in the garbage and be done with it? No, man. Like, it's fun building a team. These are the years that, in my opinion, these are the fun years. Like, it may be bad on paper, but these are the fun years because you truly get to see the evolution of this team, and you get to see those players that were taking a back seat to other players on the team really emerge as taking the front seat. Now they're in the driving spot. Like, it's really going to be a beautiful thing when this team is fully rounded again. It's just going to take time and patience, and Bulls fans, please be patient, and we will get there. We will get there, but please have patience.
Time and patience. Oh,
Orlando Woolridge. Wow. Oh, wow. Shout out.
An Orlando Woolridge
WGN,
reference on the pod.
Man.
I didn't think we were going to get that. WGN is like one of the reasons I am a Bulls fan, just because I was able to, living in Minnesota, I was able to watch Michael Jordan. I mean, WGN was on more than the Timberwolves were on when I was a kid. So last quick thought on tonight's game for me is a lot of people, I've said it before, I'm indifferent the rest of the year. I don't care if we win. I don't care if we lose, because I don't think we're not going to win enough games to get back into the play-in, and I don't want that anyway. And we're also not going to lose enough games to catch anybody in the lottery standings. We're kind of in no man's land. Tonight's game, I see people are like, well, this is a must-tank game because the Blazers have our pick. Honestly, this is kind of the ultimate mad game because, yes, we have the Blazers pick, but they have to make the playoffs. So tonight's game isn't going to sway that at all because the Blazers are not going to jump into the top 6 of the standings. They are like 7 or 8, maybe even 9 games back of that right now. The Blazers have to win the play-in tournament. So tonight, man, like, win or lose, it really does not affect the Bulls and their draft picks in any way, shape, or form. So last thing we're going to close the pod out with today. We do this every day. We're going to close it with us. And feel free, on Twitter, tag us, give us some names to throw out there. Like I said, me and Sal have been fans of the Chicago Bulls for 30 years, so I don't think either of us are ever going to run out of names. But we got the random bull of the day. Last episode, it was Nazi Muhammad. This episode, it is your turn. Who is your random bull of the day?
I think you're going to like this one. Bulls fans, you're going to hate this one. But before I give it to you, real quick, I just want to say, if you're here, if you're in the chat, please do Bulls on Tap or do On Tap Sports a favor and hit that subscribe button, follow their page. I really do thank them for allowing me and Justin to take the reins of this podcast. So please show them some love, subscribe to the page, comment, like, all that good stuff. If you'd like to see more of Justin and myself, please follow us on our respected socials. Justin, I believe you're J_talks hoops across the board, right? He put on some really good videos. You can find me at, honestly, Horns Over Hoops podcast. Not trying to poach. I just don't have any personal socials. So please do show us some love elsewhere. Now, random bull of the day. You love them, but mainly you hate them. DV45, Denzel Valentine is the random bull of the day. Because I saw a clip of that. I saw a clip the other day of the shot, in the bubble, oh my goodness, Valentine, I still hear it. That and Derrick Rose holding onto his knees. Those are like two iconic words that I hear. Yeah, Samity's banging his head on the wall because I said Denzel Valentine. But Justin, please, what do you think of your thoughts on DV45?
Well, I got to shout out Samity in the chat too, noticing Anderson Silva behind me. If you guys are MMA fans, loved Anderson Silva, that front kick knockout of Vitor Belfort. That's my background in my office here. So shout out to Samity. getting in on the MMA tip, but when it comes to Denzel Valentine, I just feel pure unadulterated rage for that man. Like, oh man, the oh my goodness, Valentine, it's an all-time meme. And it might have been me that you saw that on your timeline from, because somebody, it was one of those like viral, like, what's a moment in sports that'll never be replicated? So I, quoted it and put the oh no Valentine on there, because we're never going to see anything like that again. But that was the Denzel Valentine experience. That's why it has lived on, because this man thought he was, I don't even know what he thought he was. He thought he had a flamethrower from three, and he would take the most absurd 3-point shots. And I'm going to be honest with you. When we drafted him, I was still in my college basketball watching phase. And that Michigan State team, coached by Tom Izzo, they played him a little bit at the point. They played him at the 2. They played him at the 3. And I thought he was versatile. I was like, this kid can kind of do everything, and he's a good shooter. Like, I was really excited about that draft pick. And then maybe halfway through that season, I was like, all right, this was a miss. And now I don't even know what he's doing now. I think he's rapping now or something. I don't even know if he's playing basketball. Oh my God.
I think he was in Australia there for a minute. I think he was playing in the NBL. And yeah, but here's I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I will say this, as I'm embarrassed to admit this. I do own a Denzel Valentine number 45 jersey. It was given to me, but it was given to me as a gag, because like on my other show, I lost a bet, and they're like, I'm going to pick one player that you have to wear his jersey for the rest of the season. It just so happened to be Denzel Valentine, and 2 sizes too small, but it's neither here nor there. But my devil's advocate is like, imagine if that shot had gone in. Imagine if that shot had gone in. What do you think that would have done for Denzel Valentine? Do you think we still would have written him off, or do you think it was like, you think that would have just propelled his career into another level? Obviously not league wide.
So I've seen the clip a million times. We share it all the time, and I remember watching that game live, because it was the 2021 season. So it was the season after the bubble. And it was the first year that me and my now wife were dating, and she was watching the game with me. And that might have been the first time she ever saw me like get visibly mad, because if I remember right, we were down double digits and we were making a comeback. And I think we were down 5, and there was like 40 seconds left, and he pulled that shot off. So if it goes in, then yeah, it's a 2-point game. Maybe we win the game. Maybe Denzel Valentine's entire career is remembered differently. Who knows? But I don't know if that multiverse exists out there. I don't know if there's a universe in existence where that shot ever went in, because it's not like he missed by a little bit. He missed by a lot. He missed about as bad as you can miss it. And I got to ask, man, when you wear that Denzel Valentine jersey, when you are walking, like if I'm walking towards you, how many times does somebody think that it's going to be like, how many times people are like, oh, a Jordan 45, that's dope. And then they turn around and see the Valentine, and they're like, what the hell is wrong with this man?
That's why I always make sure to put a hoodie on over it, so that when they ask me, oh, Jordan 45. Yeah. Jordan 45. Yeah. Yep. And the fact that it's 3 sizes too small because it was purchased that way just adds to it. Like,
was that just like the only size? Is that the only size available to buy?
I don't know. Like my co-host Scott, shout out Scott. He's the one who purchased it. I'd like to think he knew I was kind of a girthier fella. Like I'm pushing large into XL, but it's all like lower. Like I'm built like a squash. Like the top looks okay, but the bottom, there's just not much going. There's not much positive to say there. But it's like I can barely breathe in the thing. So I think they bought I think what it was a kid's large. I'll have to go double check, but I think it was like purchased as a kid's shirt. So lesson in life, if you're going to wear a person's jersey, wear a hoodie over it. You could always say it's a different person's jersey.
Man, I don't even know where you would buy a Denzel Valentine jersey.
I think he said eBay. I think it was like one of those eBay. He's big into eBay. So.
Okay. Well, that's a good way to end it, man. I don't have anything else Denzel Valentine related. It was one of those draft picks where I was like, I talked myself into it, and then I talked myself out of it just as fast as it happened. So let's plug some of the socials here. So you already mentioned you got the Horns Over Hoops podcast. When's your guys' next episode dropping? And you guys getting any guest guys coming on there, guest spots?
I got one dropping. See, I like to drop my episodes every 2 weeks on Tuesday. but I got a guest coming on. I don't want to say it, but I'm excited for this guy because if you know, you know. This guy is top tier fella. He knows who he is, and we've been working on this for a while. And I had a lot of positive feedback on the Hayes episode. So shout out Hayes. So I wanted to do something similar for this guy. So be prepared for that. I'll more to follow, I guess.
Hell yeah. Well, if you guys aren't following us, my handle's up there, J_talks_hoops. I do, daily content. I call them the walking talks. It's just me walking my dog, talking basketball. It's not always Bulls related. I think today I made a Cade Cunningham MVP case. So if you're into that kind of thing, that short form content, throw me a follow. Sal-Bass, you can find him, Horns Over Hoops. He's dropping weekly podcasts over there. Like he said, if you guys are not subscribed to this podcast, make sure you do. We're coming back Sunday, I believe. We're going to do a little show on Sunday, kind of similar to here. We're going to talk about some random stuff, and then we're going to preview the Bulls game that game I think will actually be a post game, because that game I believe we're in the afternoon for the Bulls. So little switch up. Instead of pregame, we'll do post game.
Mm-hmm. And by all means, if there's any content questions or anything that you would like to see, please reach out to us and we will accommodate you. Bulls on Tap is back in a big way. And we are very excited to get to work and take this podcast into the next level. So thank you for rocking with us for the last hour and 16 minutes. It's been real, and I can't wait for the next one.
Enjoy the Bulls game tonight, guys.
Sal-Bass. Live when the mic snap. Justin. In the cut, bring the fight back. Windy City talk, turn it down, that's that. Welcome to the show, it's Bulls on Tap. Bulls on Tap, pull it up, press play. Chi-Town talk, we can run it all day. From the tip-off buzz to the post-game rap. If you rock with the Bulls, you rock with Bulls on Tap.